everybody? Welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap this past Saturday's PBC on ESPN, their inaugural PBC card. On there, they had a undercard fight between, what's my man, Willie Nelson and
Tony Harrison.
And also in the main event, which we covered in our preview video, was Thurman-Collazo and Keith Thurman. We didn't talk about the undercard fight because I hadn't seen Tony Harrison. I had seen Willie Nelson. I hadn't seen Tony Harrison, so I didn't want to, say anything about it. But it was a good fight. Harrison came in as advertised. He looked good. Nelson looked good as well. He's got a new trainer. Showed a few more wrinkles. And he also showed some late round power because he got the knockout late in the fight, in a fight that he was losing. So credit to him. Don't want to count out Harrison yet because he did look good. He might need to go back to the drawing board. I'm excited to see what happens with both guys. You want to touch on anything before we go to the main event?
Yeah, this is a fight that Harrison was actually favored in. He's a guy who was coming up, had the glossy knockout record, but really didn't have too great a competition, and he wasn't going a lot of rounds versus that competition for against a guy such as Willie Nelson, who to me is like the second coming of Paul Williams. He's tall, he's lanky, but he's not a guy who doesn't use his length. He does not box in the way that you want him to. He's an all action guy, all heart, not the greatest chin, but he doesn't really get knocked out.
Yeah, I don't think he's lost by knockout. He's lost by decision. He's been down like 5 times, but he always gets back up.
Yeah, he gutted out a great performance versus Martirosyan, but unfortunately he lost. He had one other loss and a draw on his record, but he showed that him going all those rounds, because he doesn't have a lot of knockouts, he was able to clip Harrison and put him down. But Harrison showed the potential. Yeah. As a fighter, he needs to get a little bit better on his defense, and but he showed exactly how you should fight a taller fighter and out jab them. Not that he's a big jabber and was fighting a big jabber in Nelson, but he was able to come from a low stance or dip low and come up high, almost like an uppercut, but he turned it into a jab and score time after time.
Yeah, he also had good success with his counter right hand and a counter left hook. He baited Nelson in a lot to land those shots. When Nelson would come in with his shots, he'd be able to just lean back just a little bit, counter him, and score big points with that. Unfortunately, the stamina didn't hold up, and he got caught. So he improves on his stamina. He keeps working on it in the gym, getting sharper, and I think we got us a pretty decent fighter.
Good guy coming out of Gronk Gym in Detroit, Michigan.
Yep. So let's go on to the main event that we did cover in the preview video. Keith one-time Thurman against Thurman-Collazo. And in this fight, it was, we said Thurman needed to make a big statement. He needed to knock out Collazo in emphatic fashion. He did not do that. What happened was he got a stern test that he passed. And what was revealed during the fight, he came in with an injured left hand. And it kind of showed because he didn't use it a lot. Thurman still has this thing. It works for him. We don't really care for it too much, where he moves in very wide circles when he's like either trying to catch his breath or he's trying to figure out a new way to put the hurting on his opponents, because when he lands punches, he puts hurting on his opponents.
That's right.
Collazo was very tough. He was able to score as well on Thurman, but early on in the fight, it looked like it was just too much.
That's right.
But he was able to get Thurman's timing down. He was able to work very well to the body, as evidenced when he hurt him in the 5th round. Was it 5th round?
Yes.
Hurt him very badly with some body shots. Keith Thurman deserves big time props for not going down after getting hit with those body shots. You could see that it bothered him tremendously.
A lesser man would have went down.
Yes. And you're going to hear a lot of other people say things like, oh, he was exposed or he's overhyped, blah, blah, blah. Kill that noise. We want the guys to be tested and pass the test. There's so many other guys that had that happen, even in the undercard.
Yeah, moving forward, this is only going to serve him better, knowing that he can weather against a guy as tough and as much of a veteran as Collazo is. Because remember, Collazo was giving all kinds of people trouble. He gave Ricky Hatton trouble. He gave who else? I'm missing someone.
Andre Berto.
Andre Berto trouble. We're talking about guys who have speed, who have talent, who have.
He's a former world champion.
That's right. So he's giving these guys good outings. He can't really close the deal like he wants to, but he is giving these guys hell, basically.
Yeah. And when he fought Amir Khan wanted no parts of him on the inside.
Well, he doesn't really want any parts of anyone on the inside.
True, but he didn't want any parts of, like, Collazo made it very difficult for him when they got on the inside. And that, to elaborate on your point.
Yeah.
But with Keith Thurman, he wasn't able to. That movement that we just talked about, the wide movement, actually helped him because Collazo really couldn't cut the ring off well at all. And it allowed Thurman to cut certain angles. He actually physically cut Collazo with his punches, but it allowed him to pretty much set up his offense whenever he wanted to. That's why maybe he should check out the technical toolbox on how to cut off the ring, because he might have got a knockout that night. Because Keith Thurman was in big trouble, and it also happened at the end of the round. But when you get hurt that bad to the body, it sticks with you for a long time. That's why coaches tell you, work the body.
Yeah, 60 seconds isn't enough to just recover from a body shot of that magnitude.
Yeah. So what's next for these guys? Collazo will probably get another young lion within the next year or so to test their mettle.
Possibly, Errol Spence, maybe fight Saddam Ali, Brad Solomon, guys that are in the top 15 of the welterweight division.
Yeah, that haven't really gotten that big name yet, but they're trying to be on their way, and beating a guy like Collazo will get them on their way.
Now, Thurman called out Mayweather.
We know that's not happening.
Nah. Now, this was a good win, but his last few opponents have not been of that echelon that would garner a Mayweather fight.
It didn't make enough headlines. Like, if he had went out there and flattened him in like 2 rounds, they may have considered him. Even though Leonard Ellaby was quoted as saying they're not even thinking about him before the fight even happened. So, that might have changed their minds.
But
it didn't.
Now, if he's going to fight someone to get to Mayweather, there is a potential matchup that they're willing to make with Matchroom of Kell Brook versus Keith Thurman. I don't know about y'all, but I want to see that match.
I do too. I also wouldn't mind seeing Keith Thurman and Amir Khan. I think that'd be a good fight as well.
There's plenty of competition in that division, and those are names that we would love to see fight. I bet Thurman wants the big name.
Yeah.
And let's see, Brook wants a name in the U.S.
He does.
And Khan wants the Mayweather fight, but he's not going to get the Mayweather fight unless he fights someone of that caliber. And we know he thinks highly of himself, so it's not going to be easy negotiating, or it's not going to, he might just try to dismiss it and still try to go for that Mayweather fight.
And the window for the Mayweather fight is like this big. It's already, I think, 8-7 weeks out. Mayweather star training hasn't even picked an opponent yet.
Yeah.
So the chances are real slim that any of those guys are going to get that fight. So now it's their chance to take over the division that he's going to leave behind. It's going to be exciting to see who does. That's it, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like this one. Make sure you share it with your friends. If you have anything you want to add, comment below. You can hit us up on Facebook, CapitalofCombat, Google+, same name. We are now on Instagram. Follow us, CapitalofCombat. You can hit us up on our email, capitalofcombat@gmail.com. Any questions, we put you in the combat mailbag. Check out the technical toolbox and everything else that we have to offer. We'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and gone. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.